Hey pals, Palamore here. Really quick, shout out to this guy. Basically, he left a comment on one of my videos, and I randomly selected him as one of my subscribers to give him some free stuff. I basically told him I'm going to buy him any Blizzard Store mount of his choice, and I feel like I'm going to start doing this stuff all the time now. So if you want a chance to win random free stuff, or maybe even just money, just be subscribed to my channel and leave comments on the videos, and you'll have a chance to win. Anyways, in today's video, I'm going to be going over some of my Necrolord Assassination Rogue gameplay, kind of showing you guys what the pace of the game looks like in 2v2, specifically with a healer. I have an example of an offensive game and then a defensive game. So we'll go ahead and jump right into that, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Alright, so jumping into game number 1, this is our Druid, Assassination Rogue versus Elisham our Druid. Basically a really good example of a game where you want to apply insane offensive pressure and basically just win by rotting the enemy team. This game, I say it's an offensive example because you're playing against another healer DPS comp, so you're playing really aggressive. You're going to win this game by kind of rotting them down, being really aggressive, doing aggressive clones, just applying a ton of pressure. The next game, it'll be versus like a rogue mage team, so that's a lot more defensive, playing against double DPS, because you don't need to apply as much pressure to get the win. You kind of just need to survive more as a priority. But yeah, let's jump right into this game. So, starting off, main goals as an Asa Rogue in 2s. You're getting up all of your bleeds. You want a kidney shot very frequently. So bleeds, we're looking at Garrote and Rupture. You want to have your Slice and Dice up, and you want to get full kidney shots. This is going to give you the most DPS value. And immediately what you'll see I do here is the second the Druid pops out, I blind him because I have full bleeds rolling on the Elisham. This is going to give us a ton of pressure. Doing this immediately guarantees that the Druid's going to either have to trinket out of that and trade cooldowns, or the Elisham's going to have to use cooldowns to stay alive, because there's already so much DPS rolling. Not to mention that my Druid's playing Feral Affinity, so he's also actually putting cat form bleeds and doing DPS with me. So as you can see, Druid has to trinket out. The Shaman also overlaps with Wall, and you'll notice immediately what I do. The second the Druid trinkets, I don't kind of just keep attacking and kind of like dampening him down. I immediately swap onto the Druid and I start multi-dotting. So multi-dotting is a concept that's really important to learn as an Assassination Rogue, because it's going to give you a lot more energy regen. Basically, in our spell book for Asa, we have a passive that gives us energy regen when bleeds tick on a poison target. So if you have bleeds rolling on 2 targets and you keep your poisons up, you're going to have a lot more energy regen, which is going to equate to a lot more DPS. So anyways, as you can see, I'm instantly on this healer. Basically, since the Shaman's walled, this is a good idea. I pop Vendetta, and I put my next full kidney right on this Druid, and I am just cranking into him. You know, I get my Bone Spikes up as well. Those are really good for DPS. And as you can see, we get Iron Bark. Immediately after Iron Bark, the Shaman's wall's down. I literally leave my full dots. I say, I'll see you later, Druid. You can rot away. I'm going to go back onto the Shaman. And as you can see right now in the game, the Shaman's at 54% health and the Druid's at 58%. This is exactly how you want the game to look, because you're basically, like I said, rotting them down. You're not letting the Druid have any time to recover his Shaman, because he's so focused on healing himself now after taking all the pressure. So he's over there, he's in Iron Bark, and we're not even attacking him. We're getting so much value out of our damage, it's really good. Back on the Shaman, immediately just trinket this. We don't need to worry about a defensive trinket this game. We get full bleeds back up. We notice the Druid's flush crafting and cloning. So we're playing a little bit defensive now. We're aware. I think I throw a smoke bomb down just to get a little more pressure. What this does is actually it's a bit defensive as well. Since my Druid's in a clone and the Shaman's under a lot of pressure, it actually makes the Shaman have to focus on running out and the Druid coming in. Kind of a small minimal bomb. You know, you could probably utilize your bomb better on a target with no trinket and a stun. But yeah, doing stuff like this in 2s when you're playing this rot playstyle really isn't a big deal. And it's okay to use cooldowns like bomb like this. So anyways, he's now focused on running out defensively, keeping my bleeds up. I'm still holding cloak. I'm pretty sure my healer's telling me I'm fine. I have Iron Bark. And you'll notice right here, I'll replay this actually. You'll notice I'm chasing the Shaman, and what I'm doing in this moment of time is, since I have full bleeds on him and I have no bleeds on the Druid, I'm thinking in my head, I have step and kick. If I can step, kick, lock out the Druid, that is a good trade, and I immediately am going to start putting bleeds on him. So as you can see, I'm just being near the Druid, keeping this in mind, watching his Gladius, and I'm pretty sure the second he casts here, regrowth, there it is. I target, step kick, and I immediately, instead of trying to run back to the shaman and wasting all the value of the lockout, the shaman's already got full bleeds on him over there and he's rotting out. So I'm just going to turn, get full bleeds applying on this druid, and ideally look to stun him really soon as well. As you can see, just a lot of DPS, just maintaining this rot playstyle. And I'm kind of contemplating going back, but I see him leave bear form. Actually, what I might have done here, so I do this trick a lot against resto druids. I actually tricked myself watching it back. But basically, if a druid's sitting bear form and you ever want to try to stun them out of form, a really good little thing you can do is kind of a fake runaway. So as you can see here, I find it funny because I actually tricked myself. That's how good this works. So I'm basically dotting him. I look at the shaman, but I keep the druid as my target. This is how I know I was doing it. I start running at the shaman, and the second the druid leaves form, I'm going to turn and stun him full. So right here, turn and kidney. Now you get him out of bear form. You have way more value during your kidney. This is a trick I do a lot. Not so much in 3v3 arena, but in 2v2 especially. So I use my Vanish offensively here, it looks like, to get a big Garrote up. If you don't know, your Garrotes from stealth do a lot of damage. We're basically bleeding him out. I see Thorns on the Druid. I want to reduce the damage I take, so I stop attacking into Thorns, and I go back on the Shaman because my dots fall off him. And once again, I just want to stress, look at our health, Rudar and I, and look at the enemy team's health. These guys are struggling. You know, this Druid's at 40% health, trying to keep himself up. It's 2v2, so dampening, stacking up. The Shaman's at 60%, and he's got me on top of him. And, you know, I've got another stun coming around the corner. We are looking really healthy. This is how the game should look when you're playing Asa R Druid. So I'm cranking him down. Unfortunately, I kick, and he has Fleshcraft. I decide, might as well just channel mine as well. I get sheared. Not a big deal. Shaman pops some burst, and I start running over to the Druid. I get a full kidney in cat form. Basically applying bleeds. I'm just doing this whole back and forth rot. We're really crunching. Rudar bashes out of the kidney. We get skin. Most likely, I'm just going to go right back on the shaman here because he's beside me. So I turn to the shaman and I start putting full bleeds on him as well. And I'm keeping close to this druid. Once again, I want to make sure I keep multi-dotting and I always have the chance to stun out of form if I'm going to go druid. So I'm looking for step kicks, all that kind of stuff. So right here, you'll see I have a step. I know that I have a step, and I'm keeping this in mind. As you can see, I do another one of these fakies, and I'm telling you, these really work in 2v2. So once again, I'm attacking the druid. He's sitting in bear form. You know, I have my bleeds on him. I start running away. I keep the druid as my target, and I'm ready to just step kidney. I think right here I was waiting, and then I see... I'm literally watching backwards, step kidney out of form, and there's just so much pressure onto this guy. He does not have the time to top himself up because he has to camp bear form when I'm on him or else he gets destroyed. So he pops Ironbark, and I actually choose to blind him at low health here. This is kind of a good play. In this situation especially, cloning him is more ideal, but obviously blinding is instant. I'm going to lose my bleeds, but I am able to actually sap him off this if I decide to go back on him. But this is where we really start to apply the pressure. Druid has a couple hots healing him up. Unfortunately, I get lassoed, so I meld and I sap this guy. And I think I tell Rudar at this point, I'm not 100% sure what I was doing. I think I just wanted to sap and reset stun DR. It looks like the shaman tried to pre-wall. My goal here was to keep the druid really low health and apply pressure to the shaman during the blind. Obviously, the shaman lassoed me and made a good play, so it didn't work out as planned, but we're still going to roll with it. We reopen on this druid out of form again. I try to actually trinket there. I get another full kidney. He probably has to trinket this. He trinkets pretty late. This is my vendetta. Cranking this guy with dots here. I believe Rudar's looking to clone at some point here. They're both getting rotted. So right here, he Fleshcraft. I kick. Rudar clones the shaman at 22% health. I'm attacking the druid. He swaps the clone, and then we go shaman here. And this guy literally just runs out of health. Nothing they can do to keep up with this pressure. And as you can see, I mean, it looks like he's still alive, but he left the game. If you look at this last frame right here, this is what Asa R Druid should look like. Targets cloned at 30% health, the other targets at 20% health. Just putting them in a situation where they literally cannot recover because you're multi-dotting, you're maintaining pressure between both targets, you're using clone to negate the value of their defensive cooldowns. And yeah, as you can see on the damage meters too, really big DPS. This is how you can absolutely rot somebody down. Now we're going to jump into more of a defensive game, a little bit faster sometimes, but just showing you the different kind of position you have to play in. Okay, pal, so jumping into more of a defensive example of a game here. This time we're playing against Rogue Mage. We're playing the same comp, of course. Let's go over strategy really quick. So generally, strategy here, it seems a lot easier to take out the sub rogue, especially since we're playing assassination. If you don't know this, your vendetta, when used on a rogue, will actually let you see through stealth, even if they vanish. So what I like to do is usually pop a kidney onto the rogue, apply a lot of burst, but kind of hold vendetta. Ideally, get the trinket, and then kind of the next time I kidney them with vendetta, I should be able to lock down the kill. The problem is if the mage is a really good player, they're going to peel for the rogue. They're going to use polys, novas, dragon's breath, and basically your healer can't do enough to help you stay onto the rogue. So in some situations, if you're having a hard time connecting, it might be better to just go mage. But yeah, all in all, it's not terrible to kind of just hit both of them, but the game will look a lot better if you kind of just lock down one target. Mage seems to be more reliable. Rogue seems to be better if you can connect. So let's jump right into it. Like I said, goal is to look for a kidney on the rogue. So right here in the opener, Rudor gets knocked out, and I see the rogue. I immediately try to mark for the kidney him straight out of stealth. I don't want to use sap and put him on DR or anything. And as you can see, my kidney actually doesn't go off. I'm like literally clicking it, but he gets a step kidney onto my druid. The mage novas me, and basically they duel my druid instantly. So at this point, I recognize there is literally nothing I can do to help my druid, so I tell him on voice chat, I'm basically like, you have to measure if this is worth your trinket or not. I can't really see what he's popping. I'm kind of just chilling on the outside. The mage is CCing me. Mage puts me into a DB and sheep. There's no point in me trinketing any of this. There's nothing I can do. I'm kind of just chilling. So at this point right here, the mage actually commits a late combust on top of the rogue. I'm assuming already committed a lot of bursts in the shadowy duel. So trinketing here is something I could potentially do, but now that I see my druid's already committed Barkskin, I'm confident that he's off stun DR now. He survived the stuns during the duel, that I should not need the trinket to save him. That would put me in a vulnerable position, so I'm kind of just going to wait it out. He does actually spike a little bit low because he was really under geared at this point, but yeah, it was definitely the right call. He's able to walk away and survive. As soon as I come out, I blind the mage, and I do this for a couple reasons. Number one, obviously to peel my druid a little bit. He's obviously going to survive, but also just to have the mage not be able to DB me in a couple seconds or Nova me, and so I can just run at this rogue with my druid. The mage instantly trinkets and DBs me, and he actually puts me on DR and messes up, and this is where I decide I am going to commit to this mage, because the rogue's already gone. I'm not going to chase him. This mage already has no trinket. All he has is basically ice block and his shields to be able to survive for me, so I immediately get a Garrote on him into a kidney, and I am just cranking away at this guy. I get some spikes on him, I get up a rupture, and I get a slice and dice, and he pops Battlemaster and Altar, tries to do a healing trick, which is fine. They stun me. I do not need to trinket this stun. They're not even trying to kill me. I also don't need the trinket to save my druid because my druid isn't even in CC yet. He could probably just pre-bear form this go. He also has Iron Bark. Lots of things. These are the things you're thinking of in these defensive matchups. Do I need to trade my defensives to survive? In between when you're just doing as much pressure as you can on your go. So right here, mage comes back. He's trying to poly me. He actually screws up and I get a kick. He also DBs into me and I'm immune on DR. So this team is really making a lot of mistakes, but it shouldn't take away from the way that you play the game based off what they're doing. So they stun my druid and they start doing some damage. The mage is locked on arcane, so he's just kind of throwing fireballs. This is a moment where I could have potentially played a little bit better. Maybe Vanish Garroting the Mage and Cheap Shotting the Rogue to peel here isn't terrible because I do still have Trinket and Cloak. I decide that it's fine. We're in Discord as well, so I'm sure he was telling me he was probably fine. He also still has Iron Bark, so if I see my druids not using a defensive like Iron Bark, he probably isn't too scared of dying. I put a lot of trust into him. So just attack this mage. He comes off stun DR. I get a Garrote up, and I do decide to actually cheap shot here with a meld. I get a big Garrote up again, and I'm reapplying that rupture. I'm just rotting through this mage's shields the whole game, not chasing the rogue around, and I decide here is a point where I'm actually going to trinket the Dragon's Breath to kick the Polymorph. The reason I do this, usually you want to trinket for stuns against Rogue Mage, ideally, because that's how you can die is in a stun, or that's how you can get set up on. I decide that if I trinket kick this poly, it's going to give me enough pressure to push him into cauterize or block. So it ends up being a really good trade because I trinket kick the poly, the rogue's far away, he panics, tries to meld, and I proc cauterize. So I think this is already not a terrible trade. I'm running him down, his shields are kind of exploding. This poly he gets. The next poly after I get dispelled, I actually channel Fleshcraft immunity into this one. He locks me on it, and I force the ice block. So really fast-paced stuff that happened there, but basically I'm running this mage down, applying as much pressure before they have DRs to kill us again. Something else I'm keeping in mind is I still have my Necrolord Fleshcraft shield up. I don't know if this is the one I reapplied. Actually, this is probably the one. Yeah, this is just the one I reapplied, so ignore this part. But basically, I feel pretty safe because I do have Battle Master and Trinket. Obviously, or not Trinket, I have Battle Master and Vanish. So I can, basically, if he stuns my Druid, I'm able to vanish out. If the enemy team were to pre-Dragon's Breath me and stun my healer for CC, they would have a chance to kill me, but they also don't have combustion. So it's not the most likely thing that they'd be able to 100 to 0 me in one little bit of CC. So we still have space for counterplay. Anyways, the mage sits in his block and he heals up. What I do here is I see that he kidneys, so I immediately bomb myself. I do this to try to restealth to sap the mage out of the block. A smart play here would actually be just immediately using Battle Master Trinket or Vanish in case they decided to go onto me. So I do vanish here out of the Nova. It looks like they're actually just attacking my Druid without CCing me. So once again, kind of a mistake by the enemy team. I'm going to immediately use my Vanish to get a Growth on the Mage into a full kidney. I mark for death to get a Rupture up, and I'm rotting him down. He should basically die in this kidney shot. And at this point, I'm just telling my Druid, okay, I'm going to need help killing the Seed Pod. I'm playing Asa. I don't do the most damage to Seed Pods. I got to ramp up a little bit. Without our bleed sticking, we don't have the most energy regen. But yeah, we get the Seed Pod down, and we take out the Rogue Mage. Anyways, pals, that's going to wrap up the video today. Like I said, if you want to have a chance to win some random free stuff, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Leave likes and comments on the video, all that kind of stuff, and you'll have a chance to win random free stuff. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video.